The next question that we have is, how are the kids, and is there anything that we can do for them? We get this question a lot, and I would say that they're doing okay. Malachi seems a lot less affected by this than Silas, and from research with like a social worker, they said that children don't understand death till about 5, or like these kind of serious traumatic situations till about 5. So Malachi just kind of rolls with it. Her issue is me being gone a lot. That really affects her. But she can quickly kind of get better from, she can get over it quickly once I leave. Then, they say that she's okay now and she stopped crying or, asking for you, so she's good. So we've had to like not make nighttime phone calls because it seems to like upset her, and then she wants me, and it's like a whole thing. Little Silas I've seen, Silas hasn't seen him in a while.
About a month.
I've seen it.
Malachi.
Well, right. You haven't seen either of the kids in a month. So
that's why tomorrow's very exciting. Yeah.
I've noticed a personality change in him. That is like really hard. Like, it's like, ugh. I take the stuff with the kids so seriously and like with so much intent. Like, I want to protect them and I want to fix it, and what do I do? Do I go down this road? Do I go down the road? Being a parent in general is hard, and then you get thrown in this situation and you're like, what is best for them? And that is super challenging for me. Out of everything, is what is the right decision for them? I mean, I stress over this topic constantly. I mean, daily, like worrying about how it's going to affect them, how, what's going to happen to them. And I feel like we're doing our best that we can, given the circumstance we're given. But yes, I've noticed a bit of a change. I know that once we're at home and we establish like better boundaries as a family and like get back to a normal routine for them, I think it will help him and Malachi. So we're really looking forward to that, like just being home and establishing a routine and a, really back to like our firm boundaries on things. So I think that will help them. Answer that. Are you still looking for bone marrow donors?
So, no. First of all, the amount of cancer that I had going into like January, February, they gave us an option between the CAR T cells or the bone marrow, and the more likely one to work was the CAR T cells. Bone marrow transplants don't tend to do as well when you have large amounts of cancer in your body. They tend to do much better when there's just like a small little area. My entire stomach was basically lighting up with cancer, and so it just... Besides
the other parts of you that were too. That's not the... I mean, like, his full body was covered.
So, if we do... It's very unlikely that we will do a bone marrow transplant after going through all this. But if we do, I already have a match in my brother. So, we are good to go. Should it come up. It's not likely, though.
Just a little bit about what we've learned about bone marrow also is there was 3 options for Silas. One was transplant your own, which he couldn't do. We tried that months ago. The second option was a sibling match, because if he had a bone marrow transplant, it had to be a relative first, and then after that it had to be a stranger, which with each one gets more scary for him. So the first one wasn't an option. It didn't work for him to transplant his own bone marrow. They tested 2 of his siblings, which are his brother, 2 of his brothers, and one of them is a match. So Silas does have a bone marrow match. If he didn't have a sibling that was a match, he would have to get a bone marrow donation from someone that is a stranger, which is very risky also for the person receiving the transplant. So Silas does have a match, so that's really good news. Thank you guys. This next question is not for me. It is only for Silas. Which major does Silas think Tiger will win?
I think he's gonna win all of them. But if I have to be realistic, I'm gonna say Pebble Beach, just because I've been there and dominated it. No, I did not dominate it, but I think it just suits his game the best, and I think that's the one he's gonna win this year.
Bridget, did you ever get Silas to watch all the Star Wars movies? No, I haven't. Well, was it promised to me that he would? Yes, it was, but has he? No, he hasn't.
Hey, this treatment's not over yet, so I got time.
Okay, this is part of, there's like a couple parts of this question. Is he a fan yet? Are you a fan yet of Star Wars?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
Okay, you're not supposed to lie. Like, are you or not?
No.
See, I told you, we're very different about movies.
It's the same story over and over again, with the same ending.
I'm not going to argue with you right now.
Prove me wrong.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If it's the same story over and over again, it is a classic, and it's a great story that has been told.
Impossible shot, one chance in a million. They hit it every time.
Anyway.
And then the day.
Okay, I want to add to this question. From the ones that you've watched, which one do you like the most?
The very first one of the new ones.
Like episode 1?
Yes.
Like the worst?
No.
The worst one?
The only one that has a different story.
Who watches the class, like a couple of the classic ones, and then watches that one and said, all right, that one's my favorite?
Absolutely.
People were in an uproar about how terrible 1, 2, and 3 were.
One
Just
is
saying.
my favorite.
What do you like so much about it?
It's got a different storyline. It's the only one that is distinct. Like, they don't have to go blow up some random building that's got like a small little gap that, you have to. No, it's the best.
For me, Star Wars is a memory of my grandmother. I used to watch them with her, and then me and my brother would watch them as kids, just like nonstop. So I think for a lot of people, it's a nostalgia thing of like where you were in life when you first saw Star Wars. You, on the other hand, where were you at life when you first watched them? Normal adult. There's no attachment to it. No. So there's never going to be anything special for him in Star Wars.
No. Unless they come up with a good movie.
You didn't even like the ones with Kylo Ren?
No, I mean, it's the same story.
It's
the exact same story.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, Space Jesus, though, was funny. When Princess Leia was Space Jesus, I thought that was a little weird. But I actually, I am never for villains. I'm not, a fan of villains or whatever, but I, love Kylo Ren. I think his character is psychotic, and I really think he's crazy, and I like his character. Okay, Silas, if you were to pick a side, Rebels or the terrorists,
Rebels.
You would pick the Rebels?
Rebels.
Yeah, Silas wouldn't do bad things, so. How did you talk to the kids? They are doing so well. We want to be sensitive to their experiences and remain normal around them. Sorry, I couldn't get that question out of my mouth.
Use that.
Now use that one?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have decided from the beginning of him getting diagnosed to be completely honest with our children, what's appropriate for their age. I felt like everything was going smoothly until December. If you guys remember, Silas was in the hospital most of December. The very first night he was admitted, it was due to fevers and your scan, they did a CT scan and showed you were having, the cancer had just gotten so bad in such a small amount of time, it sent him to the hospital in December. That first night we were there, we were advised to let our family know, including our children, that Silas might not make it the next 3 or 4 days, that he was going to die. It's December, okay? And at that moment, we're like, okay, there wasn't any options for us at that moment. It was like, this is what you need to do. We get our parents there, we tell them what's going on that Friday, and we decide, we make this plan, and we're going to tell the kids at the hospital. We're going to bring them to the hospital, and we're going to tell them. We had to have that conversation with them. Let me tell you something. Our son stood there, full eye contact with his father while his father was explaining what was going on and that he might die in the next few days. And he said, he handled it.
It was probably harder on me than it was him. It was very hard to have that conversation. Mm.
Oh yeah, he handled it better than both of us.
Yeah.
We stayed really strong. Like, just thinking about it was making me emotional. I was so impressed by our son, our 6-year-old son, on hearing that. And when didn't he say something like, "It's okay, I'm gonna take care of my sister"?
Something like that.
And I'm just like, oh, Malachi wouldn't return to the hospital to see him. Refused to see him after that. So what? Sunday, our doctor has a plan. Silas, if you want it, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna present that you get CAR T-cell, but you have to do all this really harsh chemo that could kill you. That is the worst chemo you're gonna do that you've ever done. That could kill you, but it's gonna get you to CAR T-cell, and then we're gonna add some radiation, emergency radiation. What do you want to do? Do you want to just go ahead and pass away, or do you want to try that? Silas chose to get to CAR T-cell, and he went through absolute hell to get to CAR T-cell. Like,
chemo, awful.
It like destroyed him. A lot of other things were going on, but it was so hard to have that conversation with our children and then be like, well, now he's going to treatment. But we kind of just not skirted, but we kind of just said there's some hope. Like, we explained all that, and here we are. I don't do well with the wishy-washy, the back and forth. Like, here, one day it's like this, and one day it's like, I don't do well with that. It stresses me out. It makes me a different person. I need to know what's happening and go forward, and it needs to stick to that. So this back and forth stuff that's been going on, it is just part of how cancer is. It's a part of how his cancer is, and we all have to learn how to deal with it. So we try to like do our best when it comes to explaining that to the children. Hopefully we're doing it right. We'll find out when they're adults and if they hate us or not.
They'll be fine.
I think so too. If you could eat anything for an entire week, what would it be?
Bean cheese burritos.
Bean and cheese burritos, and that is a fact. He literally eats those constantly. Me, I would say pizza, and a drink that I can't live without are these right here. How many of these a day do I drink?
Too many?
There's water. It's not soda. Look at it, there's nothing in it. It's all 0, 0, 0. It's just water. Like, I can't live without these. Okay. Okay, next question.